Would you like a way to find calm and peace of mind even in the middle of the busy city or late at night when your mind just will not stop racing? How about trying all new mindfulness, available in a variety of sizes for everybody and now completely free? Let me show you 5 simple ways to be so mindful that you'll explode with calm and peace of mind. Well, let's hope not, but anyway, you get my drift. Here comes the intro, and then let's talk. Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Mental Health TV. I'm Jeremy Godwin. Thanks so much for joining me. Mindfulness is one of those ideas that gets thrown around a lot, and it's been monetized to within an inch of its life. Take a look at the App Store and you'll see a bucket load of apps with annual or monthly fees just so that you can access features that, frankly, you probably will never use. I like free stuff and I like simple stuff, and that's why I'm talking about mindfulness this week, because A, it's free, and B, it's simple, just like me. Mindfulness is about taking a few moments to be fully aware and present. It's a way of grounding you in the now. I talk a lot in the Let's Talk About Mental Health podcast about focusing on the present because the past has passed and we can only learn from it, and the future is unwritten, unknown, and in many ways uncontrollable. So mindfulness helps you to spend a few minutes fully anchored here in the present. If you spend just 5 to 10 minutes a day practicing mindfulness, you'll find that over weeks and months, it becomes easier to ground yourself in the present, which is especially helpful if you're dealing with challenges like stress or anxiety. Mindfulness doesn't have to be complicated, and I genuinely believe that for most things, the simpler solution is almost always the better solution. I mean, who has time for complicated stuff when there are 46 different seasons of Drag Race happening in 2021 alone? I think a lot of people also get a bit confused about the differences between mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness is simply about being more consciously aware of what's happening both within you and around you at any given moment. Whereas meditation tends to be a much more structured practice where you're actively focused on creating stillness in your mind and switching off. Now, personally, my mind likes to bounce around like a mad monkey, so I find mindfulness gives me the right balance of a little bit of calm and a little bit of realistic stillness. So let's talk through my 5 super quick tips for simple mindfulness practice every day, starting with number 1. Take a few minutes daily to notice your surroundings. This is the bit where mindfulness is simple, free, and easy, because it really is just about stopping, noticing your surroundings, and just being aware. You might want to focus in on particular things, you might want to look at the bigger picture, but it's also about being fully aware of what's going on within you. So at any given moment, what are you experiencing? What are you feeling? And even just being able to simply focus on just day-to-day functions and the experience of being alive. Which brings me to my second tip, which is focus on your breathing. This is the simplest thing that you can do in the space of 5 or 10 seconds. It's simply to notice your breathing as you breathe in and breathe out. That's it. Doing that for 10 seconds or more really does help just to stop you for a moment, and it's something I've talked about many times in the podcast in terms of hitting the pause button and just being able to stop the emotional hijacking that happens when things go on around us or within us. But it is just also a way of you just being able to be conscious of where you are. When you feel the sensation of the breath going into your lungs and then feel it coming out of your body as well, it's part of just acknowledging your presence in this moment. There's also a really simple and great technique called square breathing that I've talked about on the podcast previously on episode 42, where I explored mindfulness. Square breathing is simply about breathing in for 4 counts, holding your breath for 4 counts, breathing out for 4 counts, and then waiting for 4 counts before repeating the cycle. So let me step you through it really quickly now. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Release, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Release, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 2, 3, 4. That's it. You can keep doing that if you like, or you can resume normal breathing, whatever works for you. Moving on to my third tip, let go of judgments about your thoughts. So quite often when we sit and notice our thoughts and notice ourselves and what we're feeling, weird stuff might just pop up into our head. Or perhaps you might start judging the thoughts that you're having, or, criticizing yourself because you're no good at this meditation or mindfulness stuff. Let all of that go. And when I say let it go, it's not about trying to get rid of it, because you know what happens. The more you try to get rid of something, the more you'll focus on it. What it's about is just letting it naturally go. Thoughts are just thoughts. They have no weight, they have no form, they have no real life to them unless you give them form and life. All they are is just thoughts, and what you think is not necessarily fact-based. Our minds do really funny things while they're processing different ideas and feelings and emotions. And so some of the things that pop into your head can be really friggin' random. It's okay. Just let them go. They are just thoughts. They have no control over you. And really, the other thing here is about avoiding judgment as much as you possibly can. Just because you have a particular thought does not mean that you have to act on it. So simply having the thought, I get annoyed with people sometimes, but if I choose not to act on it, then that's a very different proposition than just going with it and letting myself react. So really, let go of judgments around your thoughts. They're just thoughts. My fourth tip is to consciously tune in to your five senses. So this is a fairly simple one, and it's a fairly common one. As you know, we have five senses, which are sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. Before I go any further, some of the things that I'm going to talk about here may not be relevant for everybody. If you have a vision impairment or a hearing impairment, you may need to adapt these accordingly. And so part of this is about taking a few minutes, and this works really well when you're in an environment that's not terribly unpleasant, to really just focus on your five senses one by one and really hone in on them. So in general, focusing on your five senses one by one is an opportunity for you to practice a little bit of mindfulness in short bursts of sort of 30 to 60 seconds per one. So maybe spend a minute focusing on everything that you can see. Then spend another minute focusing on everything that you can hear. And I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about all of the layers of noise that are in the background that you normally tune out. Then spend a minute focusing on everything that you can smell, and this is the bit where being in a pleasant environment kind of helps. Next, move your hands around, and as well as experiencing your entire body, think about and experience all of the things that you can touch. And then finally, and this one's a little more complex, without necessarily eating, focus on your mouth and focus on all of the different things that you can taste. If you're outside, you may get, as a side effect of smell, you may also get some tastes in the back of your throat or on your tongue. So there are different ways to do this. And that's a really great way to ground yourself in what you're experiencing in the present moment. And then my fifth tip is to concentrate on one thing fully for several minutes. So rather than trying to notice everything, take 3 to 5 minutes and notice one thing and concentrate on it fully. On your way to work, maybe choose a sign on the train or bus and notice its shape, its size, its colors, its fonts, the way the words and images interplay. There's no goal to achieve here other than a couple of minutes of mindful concentration, which is another way of grounding yourself here in the present moment. And the great thing is that you can do this pretty much anywhere that you're not required to give your full concentration to. So please don't try this while you're supposed to be driving. And then my bonus tip is actually a piece of general advice when it comes to mindfulness, and it is start small and build your practice over time. Look, you don't need to achieve guru level overnight, and you certainly don't have to go and meditate on a mountaintop, unless you're into that. But Take your time, start small, just spend a few minutes every single day. This literally can be done in 3 to 5 minutes a day, and you will find that the more that you do it, the easier it becomes to bring yourself back to the present moment. This is particularly helpful for people who deal with issues like anxiety, which tends to have hallmarks of things like worry and rumination. Worry is where you're excessively focused on concerns for the future. Rumination is where you're constantly going over things that happened in the past and focusing on negative aspects of things. Sometimes you can have both, sometimes you can have one or the other. If you can focus on spending a few days of just bringing yourself back to the present moment, when you are having an anxiety attack, for want of a better term, or issues with feeling overwhelmed or excessive worry or rumination, being able to just refocus on the present moment really can help just to let that go after you've done it for a few minutes, breathed through it, and that then lets the emotional element of it, where your brain's hijacking you, and just lets that simmer down a little bit so that you can focus on things a lot more calmly, and that way you can respond in a thoughtful manner rather than just reacting to the emotion. So that's it for this week. Let me know in the comments below what ideas sounded great to you, and also share your simple mindfulness practices that you enjoy. Take care and talk to you next time. For more great content, subscribe to the channel by clicking the logo here, and check out this video that you might like. Catch the weekly podcast every Sunday, and find even more content at letstalkaboutmentalhealth.com.au, along with exclusive daily stuff on social media. Thanks for watching, and talk to you next time.